All right. How's it going, guys? Angus here from Makers Muse, and welcome back to another live stream. Let's just make sure this is actually working, and then we'll get it kicked off. I've got lots of people in the chat saying hello from Canada, hello from Iceland, awesome, hello from North Wales. A lot of people from North Wales, very cool. And lots of people in the UK. Thank you so much for joining. And Joel from Perth. Sweet. I do think Perth's probably a bit warmer than Sydney right now. Sydney's a little bit cold. Thanks so much for joining. Yeah, this is going to be the last live stream that we do here on Makers Muse before the New York World Maker Faire. It's crept up ridiculously fast. Oh, and Barnacles apparently just ended his stream. Awesome. Glad you can jump over. I didn't interfere with his. Like, I went to the Robot Wars event in August, and now suddenly it's the same. It's a months forward in September. So we're heading off to the New York World Maker Faire, which, what I'm told, is pretty much as good as the Bay Area Maker Faire, but like possibly even better because of a better layout. And I'm bringing Lady Muse along. So a lot of you may know Lady Muse is my supporting partner here in Makers Muse. She does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So she'll be there filming and guiding me around and keeping things organized. I'm going to catch up with Joel, 3D Printing Nerd, Preston over at Press Reset, Chuck Hellebuck from his channel, pretty much everyone. It's going to be absolutely nuts. And hopefully lots of you guys who are going to be able to join me as well. We got Mario from Portugal, Mala Mutten from Denmark. Dudes, this is crazy. I'm just a little guy in Sydney, Australia, and you're coming in from all around the world. That's so cool. So yeah, for this stream, basically, I want to answer any questions you might have, tell you more about what's going on. Maybe you can tell me what you'd like me to check out at the New York World Maker Faire. The idea is going to be less interviews and more just talking about things at the event. So I'm going to I'll privately interview a lot of people, but then I'll sort of pick up the mic and talk about the products at the event, most likely. And we're definitely going to be doing streams, and I'm actually going to be on a panel on Saturday as well, so I'll keep you updated on that. But I'll be actually at the Maker Faire presenting with Joel and on a panel, which would be awesome. Fiery Gaming, do you live in the city of Sydney? I actually live a little bit out of Sydney, but yeah, close enough, an hour away. Hey, Jatman, hello from Filament Central. Yes, I don't actually have nearly as much filament as you do. That's like my whole stash, and a lot of it's opened. I don't really request filament very often, so and I don't buy it very often unless it's specific uses. So yeah, I don't have as much filament as you, definitely. And TechCrunch from Romania, welcome. So yeah, so basically, for those who don't know, World Maker Faire kicks off. We're leaving on the 20th, flying over from Sydney to Los Angeles for a stopover, then LA to New York. That's the only way we get the flight there from Australia. It's such a long flight. We're flying in coach class, which is going to be torture. We tried to upgrade, but there wasn't any seats left. But we're flying there, then spending a day or so adjusting, and then going to spend the weekend at the World Maker Faire. And yeah, judging from the last one, it's going to be absolutely crazy. Last time I met heaps of you guys. You gave me like little trinkets and stickers. I gave out lots of Maker coins. I'm definitely bringing more Maker coins and more stickers. And I met so many manufacturers and suppliers and creators. It was absolutely insane and incredible experience. But I'm going to try going through the chat, if I can pop it out. So I can actually read it. Sorry, you guys are typing so fast. Fernando's saying, is it cold in Sydney? Yeah, it's quite cold. It's meant to be spring, but it's still cold. Cass is asking, ever thought of opening up a PO box? I have. The problem is in Australia, PO boxes only accept like standard Australia Post mail. So if you send something by DHL or FedEx or any other courier, it can't be accepted. It's stupid. So there is a few parcel collection services, but none of them are nearby, and they cost a lot of money. Well, not a huge amount, but and also I just don't really have time to open up another type of segment. Like Joel does his mailbag segment really, really well. And absolutely, I enjoy watching it. I enjoy seeing what you guys send to Joel over at 3D Printing Nerd. But for me, I don't have really that much more time to invest in another series. I'm already way behind on things, like absolutely nuts. Oh, Robert, thank you so much for $10. Thank you for your Fusion 360 extrusion vid. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that, actually. I was worried it would be a bit boring. Extruding is one of those things that's really important but kind of dull. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. Practical Printing saying, do not eat the tacos in NYC. Yeah, I don't do well with Mexican food generally, so I'm not going to touch the tacos. Apparently, New York City is good for hipstery food, which is good for me, because I like my avocados on toast and stuff like that, so hopefully it should be good. Isaac's asking, do I know Make Anything? I absolutely do know Devin. I did meet him finally in person at the Matter Hackers meetup in May at the Bay Area Maker Faire, well, before we went to Bay Area Maker Faire. He's an absolute champion. We're very similar. He's definitely a more talented designer than me, but we're very similar in terms of industrial design intent. We design stuff, we sketch stuff, and we make stuff with intent. And yeah, I love Devin. He's awesome. Oh, that's right, and I'll be at the Meta Hackers meetup most likely as well. I still need to figure out the timings for that, but that's apparently just before the Maker Faire. I'm still very clueless as to what's going on. Jake, thanks for the $2. I love the channel and really want a 3D printer. Well, you came to the right place. I have lots of videos on talking about 3D printers. I suggest you start with a cheapish one, but not too cheap, like the Tronxy X1. That's a decent kit. I like that little thing. Or the Cetus if you want something ready to run. Ash James, where do you get your t-shirts from? Okay, so funny story. Everyone asks me about my shirts. This particular one's like a Space Invaders one. My family for many years have had no idea what to get me for Christmas or birthday, because what do you get someone who plays with robots and 3D prints? So they would buy me t-shirts. So almost every t-shirt I have is actually quite neat, but I haven't bought it myself. I've had it bought for me because they don't know what else to get me. So my sister especially would go out and browse T-Fury and all these t-shirt websites with collaboration shirts and limited edition, and she'd buy them for me. So a lot of them come from those websites. You know, the mashup ones especially, you can't really buy them again. They're like a limited edition. But this one I think was just like JJ's or something. But yeah, I rarely buy my own shirts. I don't need to. I've got so many. I've given most of them away because that's all I ever got for Christmas. Oh yeah, Chubby Engineer's asking, how about doing what Joel does with the coffee shop in terms of collecting packages? Yes, there is that service again in some places, but not really anything close by. And I'm not sure they could deal with the size range of packages. Like, I mean, I don't know how Joel's coffee shop deals with them getting massive printers and things. Thanos is asking if I'd be at the Friday World Maker Faire preparation day. Probably. I'm not 100% sure on that, but most likely. It depends how I'm getting in. But yeah, I'll most likely be there because it's a lot quieter on the Friday and it gives me more chance to talk to manufacturers without it being swamped. Absolutely swamped. Jake doing another $2. Dude, you don't have to do that. My parents won't let me get a 3D printer though. If your parents aren't letting you get a 3D printer, then make them watch my Inspired Creativity vlog and say, like, look, you're possibly holding back my future aspirations to a job. You really need to justify it. Write down like a whole list as to how you will use your 3D printer, why you're justifying it for your future, and what you can use it to actually make you money in future. Don't be like, I just want a toy because, you know, blah, that's a toy. That's not really worthwhile. If it's a tool to help you learn things, then it's pretty worthwhile. Antonio is asking, can I do Fusion 360 for intermediate? Yes, but I do general projects and I will feature Fusion in it. But the CAD for newbies thing is to fill a market. There's not really anyone doing super basic CAD tutorials in a project style. So that's why I'm doing that. But yeah, I do random projects as well with Fusion. I did a model rocket, for example, and that was done in Fusion, and I went through detail in that. And I did check out the Fused Muse on Thingiverse, but I haven't printed it. I cannot pronounce your username. Sorry. And oh, Shivel, dude. Thank you. You don't need to do that either. Thank you, though. Yeah, that $20 will get me exactly one avocado toast. Or one home loan, one house deposit. You know, depending on which angle you look at it. Matthew's asking if I'm going to do anything on the CR10. As per every stream, no. I'm not touching the CR10. There's plenty of reviews out there. There's no point me reviewing it. I'm not going to be able to add anything new. So go check out those awesome reviews from other channels. And yeah, that's about it. And make sure my phone's not going to be going off and annoying you guys. There we go. Novocane's asking if I've tried Laybrick filament. I did years ago. Laybrick's got this weird chalky texture and it was very brittle and hard to print with in terms of it breaking on the spool. I did, if you saw the pot video I did, the pot plant, apparently it's potted plant over in the States. We just call them pot plants here in Australia. But I used a terracotta filament from Form Futura in that, and that was really nice. But it did run out very quickly. That one pot was the whole roll. That's why I had to change to gold at the end, because it ran out. Why do I call it Thingiverse instead of Thingverse? Because it's got an I in the name, or a Y. It's not Thingverse.com, it's Thingiverse.com. That's why I say it. Shivels, yeah, saying, yes, us millennials wasting all our money on avocado toast and not getting home loans. It's all our fault we can't afford the $1 million houses in our area that have gone up in price by 20% for the last 5 years. Yep, blame the new generation. We're most likely not looking to buy a house anytime soon. We're most likely looking to rent pretty much forever because it's just too expensive. It's just the way it is these days for people going into the market at our age. It's just ridiculous. And who's going to give a home loan to someone who talks about 3D printing on the internet? No one. It's not a traditional job. That's a tangent. Brokenhearted saying, Angus, thank you. I've gotten into 3D printing. Thank you. No worries. Glad to hear it. Chris is asking what programs I use to design with. I used to use SolidWorks in university, but then obviously when you're not in an educational environment, it starts to cost a lot of money. So I use Fusion 360 now, and I use, as you would have seen on the last night's video, Mesh Mixer to edit mesh files as well. Yes, and I do apologize for people who don't like me drinking on stream, but I do need my morning breakfast juice. Just Do It's asking, hi Makers Muse, are you ever going to do anything more on the Wanhao Duplicator i3? I do have a whole pile of upgrade parts for the i3, and I have this whole series planned for Pimp My Printer, where I'm going to turn the original Cocoon Create, the Wanhao i3, into like a brand new machine with all these upgrade parts I've got. But I just don't have time. I need more time in the day to do it. I've already got manufacturers left over screaming at me for reviews. I've got the Zortrax M300. I've been testing that. That needs a review, but it's probably not going to happen until I get back from Maker Faire. The IronScan SP and SE, the newest IronScan scanners. I've been testing those. They're really, really good too, but I need to get the review out for that. This thing I've been playing with, this is the Alex Mill, that thing, and it's really cool, but getting it set up is an absolute freaking nightmare because you need to have Gerbil, you need to have a G-code sender, and then you need to do the cam work, and you need to set it up through Gerbil to understand what's going on. So it's like learning 3D printing all over again. I just don't have time. I've been chugging away at it. But yeah, that's what I mean. Maker Faire has just snuck up on me. Azza is saying, oh, thanks for the $5, is saying, any spool holders you can recommend for 5 kilo spools? Wow, that's a big spool. Anything printed would probably not be strong enough, to be completely honest. You might want to go with a metal solution. I can't think of anything off the shelf. You might want to grab something from a hardware store and modify it. Maybe like a short run of like a curtain rod between two bars, something like that. I wouldn't go with anything printed. 5 kilos is very heavy. Celsius1, oh, thanks for the $5. Once I can get your roll of polypropylene filament, I'm curious, what test do you have planned? I'm not sure what context that's in. I do have some polypropylene filament from a Japanese company. Unless you're referring to an email from a while ago. Bit confusing for me. I get a lot of emails. Yeah, I mean, with combat robots, I try to test stuff to destruction. So I'm planning to do, based on the feedback from the featherweight robot event I went to do a smaller antweight robot, and I'll be printing the frame in PLA, ABS, polypropylene, and polycarbonate, and a nylon as well, and seeing which one holds up best. I'm thinking nylon will probably be the best, but we'll see. Alright, scroll down. Sorry for the delay. Theo's asking any plans on getting a toy box printer. They did get in touch with me and they were very keen to send me one, but I said, look, I don't have time before Maker Faire, so Joel is reviewing the toy box. He got one sent to him. I don't know how it's going, but he did get one sent to him. Andrew is asking, have I tried the $99 start printer that my manufacturer is pushing? I think you mean that printer there. That one. Yes, I am putting it together, but it's a small trunksy. It's really basic, and it will be reviewed as well at some point in future. Scott's saying, love to CAD on my Chromebook with Onshape. That's pretty cool. I remember a while ago I was testing out what's it called? Tinkercad on a Chromebook. I was going into JB Hi-Fi and trying Tinkercad on their Chromebooks, and it does work, yeah. But something that's interesting to note is Onshape is cloud-based, but Fusion has a cloud-based arm as well, which I'll be testing. I'll be completely honest, I was completely in bed with Onshape. I was really happy with it, and then they changed the license just completely randomly, so you can't have any private documents without paying them $100 a month. And that didn't sit well with me. You don't do that to me. So I was like, yeah, no, even if it was good software, I'm going to give Fusion a go. And that's just how it happened. So Fusion is a lot more powerful in terms of bang for buck for someone like me, essentially. And also it handles meshes much better. So it's better for 3D printing than Onshape, in my opinion. And they do have that cloud arm, which I'll be testing at some point in future. Chris, thanks for the $5. Have fun in New York. I will absolutely have fun in NYC. I've never been there before, and neither has Lady Muse. So we're really keen to see how it goes. Should be fun. And Renaissance Tinker Dork. Hello, Angus. I love your tutorials, and you're a huge inspiration for me. Much love from El Paso TX, which is Texas, I think. Thanks, dude. I really appreciate it. I try to inspire creativity. That's the main purpose of the channel. And if that is what's working, then that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear it. Someone mentioned in the chat, I just missed it, nylon with carbon filled nylons, like Nylon X from Mana Hackers. I do have a roll from so many names. From Rigid Ink, it's their carbonite, which I was going to use for the featherweight robot, ran out of time. So I'm going to try that as well in the antweight stuff to see how it goes. Jake, thanks for $2. You don't have to do that anymore, but I can't make you a mod, sorry. I've got Japman carrying on with the mods, and he is doing a good job. Matthew, Angus, what's the worst printer you've ever bought? Yeah, worst printer. There's been a couple. I guess the worst printer, I didn't really buy it though. My company bought it back when I was working for another company. That was unfortunately the Replicator 5th gen. The first generation of that machine was absolutely rubbish. Just complete trash, and we got a refund for it. Apparently they're better now, but that was my experience. I also worked on a Bits from Bytes 3D Touch. No, BFB 3000. It wasn't even the Touch version. And that was a $5,000 Australian machine. Massive, beautiful, non-heated bed. Came with 3mm ABS filament. And you can imagine how that went. That was a complete piece of crap. And that ruined my faith in 3D printing for quite a while. That was the BFB 3000. They were the worst. In terms of printers I've bought, the worst one probably, yeah, you can probably guess the 101 Hero. That was trash, but I didn't expect it to even arrive, so that's fair enough. Everything else has been repairable or upgradable to a point where I'm happy with it. And Andrew's asking what I will be doing at Maker Faire. The purpose of going to Maker Faire is to document. So we're going to Maker Faire to check out interesting projects, interesting new products, and interesting people. And I'm going to be doing it not so much through interviews, but through me being live or documenting the actual event by talking to people and then talking about their projects at the show. Due to my experience last Maker Faire in San Mateo, it's so packed, you just really can't do much filming properly. So it's going to be a lot of voiceover as well, just because it's so loud. But I've got Lady Muse coming this time who will be filming for me. So it's going to be a lot easier. But yeah, just going to document really cool stuff and share it with you guys. And thanks for joining, by the way, guys. I mean, I know this is just random, and I do intend to do more like purpose-aimed streams. But just it's been so crazy leading up to us heading off that, you know, I'm happy to just chill out with you guys and just chat about things. Colin's asking about the TiVo Tarantula. Did I ever get it up and going? No, I did not. It's basically my kit was a complete piece of crap. They did improve them. That's fair enough. But my specific kit, the rollers wouldn't work. They would bind up. And time is money for me. As I was mentioning earlier, I'm already behind on projects. So I did redesign things. If you're on my Patreon, you would have seen I actually 3D designed all this extra parts for it and made it into a new printer. But then I went to use the rollers, and the rollers would bind up when you tighten them down. So I was just, whatever, I give up. I can't make a better printer with crap parts. So that's what happened to my TiVo Tarantula. I'm still not a fan of it in terms of the design, but that was a while ago, so I can't comment on the latest versions. Yeah, so sometimes you just gotta move on, and I've moved on. People are asking about the Buccaneer 3D. To be fair, that was only ever opened in one stream, and I never really went any further with that. Dion over at the 3D Printer sent that to me kind of as a bit of a gag, because they were like trying to get him to resell them or something, and the company's disgusting. I mean, Buccaneer 3D, sorry, the Pirate 3D scammed basically all of their Kickstarter backers and then started selling them. So like they were trying to sell them to resellers, and the machine was terrible. But to be fair, I didn't spend much time on it, so I maybe might try to get it going as an interest, but you know, no time. Matthew, Angus, do you do any meetups in Perth? Well, yes, kind of. I tend to fly to Perth once a year for Christmas. So last year we did an awesome 3D printing meetup at Frontier 3D, and they're based in Willerton. So I don't see why we couldn't do it again end of this year if Frontier 3D is still happy to do it. And yeah, it was awesome last year. We had all the Perth guys. We had Will, that 3D printing guy. We had Tess from Sparky Face, and heaps of other YouTube channels and creators at Frontier 3D making stuff and printing things. It was heaps cool. got Lota Yodi back online after the hurricane. I hope you're alright. I hope you're safe. That sounded super nasty, all the stuff that was happening over there. Joseph, am I still planning to do a maintenance video? Yep, maintenance video on the cards, on the future cards. At this stage, I mean, I would love to have a intern or helper, but like, this is in my residential location, so it's very difficult to expand my current rate of projects to what would be next. Like, you look at channels like Linus Tech Tips and that sort of thing. Linus doesn't even write his own scripts anymore for most of it. He doesn't do the testing. He basically gets his team to do it, which is totally fine, and that's how they can do a video every day. It's the only way they can do a video every day. But I do everything. I do the editing, I do the shooting, I do the scripts, I do the projects, I do the testing. So my rate of burn is very slow, and it upsets a lot of manufacturers. They're like, "Where's my video?" I'm like, "You already sent it to me 2 weeks ago." So yeah, that's my limitation. And Retson's asking if I can test Hatchbox's 3D printer. Hatchbox doesn't exist in Australia, so that would be a no. I won't be doing that. And also about the ANET A8, I will not be reviewing that, although I will be reviewing the $99 Start printer, which is like the Tronxy, the smaller Tronxy, or the Tron XY, whichever you prefer. Dade is asking what panel I'll be on. Do I know when? I can find out very quickly. I only got the invite last night, so also big thanks to Joel 3D Printing Nerd for actually queuing it up. So it's going to be on the Saturday from 2 o'clock. I don't know where yet, but yeah, it will be on the Saturday. Where did I go? There we go. Yeah, James saying I need to hire an assistant. Yeah, I'm working on it. It's difficult to hire an assistant when you can't really pay much beyond yourself yet. But we'll see. The future is bright. Yeah, so in terms of what's been going on the channel as well, as I mentioned at the start of the stream, I've personally been pretty much back to back with events. So we had the robot event, then I had lots of family stuff going on, and then now I've got the New York Maker Faire. So I've been talking about things like the upcoming video course for the 3D Printing Buyer's Guide. That's definitely in the works, and I'm trying to get it done ASAP. But as I've said in the previous videos, I'm trying to cut back on reviews, mostly because reviews, well, it's just a couple of reasons. One, reviews don't get that many views in terms of the general scheme of things. They're very specific and they go out of date very quickly, and they have a lot of time invested into them. So if you haven't seen my video talking about, unbiased and biased reviews on YouTube and paid reviews, definitely check that out. I wasn't calling out anyone in that video. It's not my intention to finger point at any specific channels, but it's my intention to sort of clue up people in terms of what's kind of going on and what channels kind of need to do to survive, because you can't survive on making just review videos. You can't pay your rent with 3D printers. You need to pay your rent with hard cash. My landlord isn't going to accept a frickin' Zortrax for my next week's rent. he wants his money. And, the money has to keep flowing. So a lot of creators are using affiliate links, and it can be tempting for some people to accept money for biased reviews. Again, not finger pointing, but it's an interesting period in time because the GearBest associate thing has gone nuts. That didn't exist about a year ago. I mean, maybe it did, but it wasn't nearly as popular. And this year, it's just gone completely crazy. So it's interesting. I've been trying to sort of figure out what's the next step and how to evolve and keep things interesting and keep things relevant and always inspire your creativity without going off the rails. And again, going back to reviews, Mr. Tree Frog, am I going to review the Duplicator 7? I mentioned again in my video about paid reviews that I have one, but it's an older version already. So yes, I'll probably do a video on it at some point. It does work, but it's just got some quirks that I'm not happy with. I do need to use a Raspberry Pi to decouple it from my laptop because I'm not happy with the laptop screen being on for hours. so I can just run this printer. It's not on in my books, so I need to use a Raspberry Pi to decouple it. Sorry about that. If Skimo is asking, if you don't already have one, can you do a tutorial on how to use a heat gun on PLA to make it smooth? You can't. I don't know where you saw that. I do have a video on how to use a heat gun. Go just search. It's like 5 uses for a heat gun. But if you do hit PLA with a heat gun, it'll constrict. Yeah, it'll just the whole filament will just sort of crush in on itself and deform, because the strands will sort of act as elastic and pull the sides in if you warm them up. That's why when you leave 3D prints in the sun, you see the top surface sink in and the infill sort of starts showing up. Like happened to poor Bill's prop. He did a video on how he left a prop in the sun and just destroyed it. You can't smooth it like that. I don't know where you thought you could. You can put like a epoxy on the top, or you can sandpaper it. You can't smooth it with heat. Not going to work. Fedric's asking about the Kodama Obsidian. He's got one waiting, and have I ordered a production model? Nope, I have not ordered a production model. I do not need to buy any 3D printers at this point. And yeah, the pre-production was interesting, but it was definitely pre-production, so I hope the models you get are decent as well. Unlerico, I always struggle with some of these names. Why are you using Fusion 360, not SolidWorks? SolidWorks is $12,000 per license in Australia, and Fusion 360 is free. That's why I'm using it. And a lot of people think Fusion's paid. Yes, it is paid if you're using it in a commercial environment. If you are a student, educator, or startup earning less than $100,000 turnover, I think, or even profit, which is not even close, then you can get it for free as well. You just renew it every year. And that's why I use Fusion 360. Pretty much. I learnt SolidWorks, I grew up on it, I did love it, but there's no place in SolidWorks for SolidWorks in the Maker environment. SolidWorks do not give a crap about makers at all. They just want high-end consumers and customers to just give them lots of money. That's just how it is, and that's fine, which is why I won't use it on the channel, because I don't have it. Manny's saying Angus should consider creating paid content. Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to work towards. I'm trying to work towards keeping YouTube as a free learning base, and then having video courses which are paid to do really hardcore stuff, like hardcore tutorials and hardcore learning things and stuff like that. That's the plan. Colin's saying, I mentioned you and Tom when discussing paid, not endorsements by influencers in concentrated markets, in discussion with the author of the upcoming book Influencer Effect. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you could send me a little email or something about that, I'd love to hear about that book, 'cause it sounds really cool. I'd really love to hear it. I'm really interested in this sort of new idea of influencers, because my sister works in marketing, and she says the agency's only just discovered influencers in the last 6 months. It's like, there's this gold rush. But they don't realize how it can be biased and change. And yeah, it's interesting. Thanks for the Japman for being hardcore on the ban hammer. Just smashing down those bans and those deletes and those timeouts. JMTX is saying heat gun for removing thin hairs. Absolutely. Again, go check that video out. You can use a heat gun to remove wispy bits of filament. You can use a heat gun to remold your prints. You can use a heat gun to get rid of discoloration. You can use it to preheat your printer. All sorts of things. Duino Makes is saying you can use Onshape instead of SolidWorks, right? Again, yes, you can use Onshape, but going back to the reason I don't is because their free plan lets you have no private documents. If I'm designing something, I want to release it when it's done, not release it when I've drawn the first extrude. as Sketch. So that's why they didn't even have one private document would have been enough for me to stick with Onshape. But no, they chose to do none unless you pay $100 a month. So I no longer care. I moved on to Fusion. I'm super happy with it. And look, it might become paid at some point in future, but I think it's like they gateway software into their other bigger products. So I don't think they're going to do that anytime soon. I'm really happy with it. Practical Printing saying clickbait video, how to get Fusion 360 for free. If that dude, most people probably would click that because most people think Fusion 360 isn't free. By all means, do it. I mean, that would be hilarious. Daniel's asking the best way to stick PLA parts together. If you want to use a chemical bonding method, there is various chemicals that will bond PLA, like tetrahydrofluorine. That's not the most dangerous, but it's pretty bad. It's much more volatile than acetone, but you can get it. You can buy plumbing pipe glues that do have it in it. You look at the ingredients, it's usually a mix of that, acetone and MEK, stuff like that. That will bond PLA, but it's usually colored. Otherwise, you can mechanically bond it with 2-part epoxy, that sort of thing. That'll work fine as well. TechCrunch, can you use the heat gun to dry your hair? No, it will literally set your hair on fire. It will not be good. Heat guns are so much hotter than hot air guns, than blow dryers. Way, way, way hotter. Cool. Shelley's saying you've inspired me to do some volunteer work at my daughter's high school. I'm helping them set up a makerspace. That's awesome. I do have a video planned, which I want to do, which will be a cheap makerspace plan. So, like, everything you need to set up a cheap makerspace, that's planned. And I do have most of the parts for it now. So that'd be cool. Unlikely saying, don't get sick at Maker Faire this time. I will be cautious. I think I've learnt my lesson from last time. Benjamin saying, how do you do faster speeds in vase mode with Simplify 3D? I have set it to 160, but it only goes to 70 in the preview. Simplify 3D will slow its speeds down depending on the layer time. So there might be another option saying, the percentage slows down per layer. If a layer only takes a certain amount of time, it won't go any faster. I can't remember the exact checkbox or location for it, but there is definitely something that will be slowing down speeds because it thinks the filament needs more time to solidify. So you can change that, and you might find your filament isn't solidifying in time. Yeah, a lot of people. Fusion 360 is free. And yeah, a lot of people are suggesting glue, super glue. My complaint with super glues on plastic parts is the white, cloudy sort of off-gassing it does. So if you do black and you super glue it, you'll get the white sort of stuff coming onto anywhere you've touched it with your fingernails, with your fingerprints. Any oil residue, it turns white near the join, and that's not great. That's why I prefer to use epoxies than super glues, even though epoxies take longer to cure. Malamutten is saying, CR10 steel or brass nozzle, what's best? Yeah, if you're printing normal filaments, print brass, because the thermal conductivity of steel is rubbish. It's terrible. So that means you have to print slower and possibly increase your extrusion speeds, extrusion temperatures rather, and slow extrusion speeds if you're using a steel nozzle. But if you're printing abrasive materials, steel will last a lot longer than brass. If you're really serious about printing high abrasion materials a lot, I'd recommend a tungsten nozzle or the Olsen Ruby, both of which are high conductivity and high abrasion, but they're obviously very expensive. So if you don't do it very often, then just get a cheap steel nozzle and print slower. That's totally fine. Troy Machines asking, saying Simplify 3D's never been close on accurate with its estimated print time for me, not sure how to fix it. Yeah, it's never been that close. It's always been underestimated. I always used to just add like half more than what it said, but a lot of other softwares aren't very close. It's because they try to go off various other parameters that your printer may be different to. Like your Your printer might take longer because it's warming up the nozzle. It might take longer because it's got some delay between each line of code. It's just how it is. I wouldn't really rely on print time estimates at all, or just double them to be super safe. Dade's saying, are you going to visit any New York makerspaces? I might. I don't know about my time schedule. We're super tight, but I would love to visit some makerspaces there in New York City. That would be cool. And Nanopus is saying, what would you recommend for a decent bed leveling sensor? Looking at the BL Touch to attach to the CR10. I'm not sure. Excuse me. I do have a BL Touch, which I do want to test out, so I can't really recommend or non-recommend it. CR10 does have a big print volume, so you do really want some sort of mesh bed leveling, which I'm sure you could incorporate. I'll be completely honest, Tom's the guy you want to talk to about that. I haven't tested the BL Touch myself yet. He's definitely going to be more cluey on it. But they're a nice little unit, definitely. You couldn't use anything inductive as reliably as on the Prusa, for example, because it's got the little areas on the print surface. Yeah. It's definitely an area I need to play around with more. Yeah, TechCrunch, if you want to print sandpaper, use a diamond nozzle. You're joking about that, but the Wollongong Innovation Center were printing filament with nano diamond in it for high thermal conductivity, because diamond is actually really thermally conductive. So yeah, you imagine the nozzle they needed to print nano diamond filaments would have been quite interesting. They would have probably had to use a diamond nozzle to print nano diamond filament. Everyone who asked me to review the CR10 will set back the review another year. I'm never reviewing it. I don't care. Unlike Creators made a GIF about me not reviewing it. It's no point. There's 0 point me to review it. There's already so many videos on it. And they've got coupons and discount codes, so go check those out. Not mine. I'm going to focus my time on more educational projects and tutorials. Absolutely. I'm not saying the CR10 is bad. I'm saying the opposite of that. There's a lot of videos saying it's great. Just I'm not going to add anything to that if I buy one or review one. So Robert's saying, look out for an Aussie wearing a cloud hat. Maybe at Maker Faire. Might see you there. Sounds good. I'll look out for you. And the 999 is from Angus, Scotland. That's awesome. I've actually never been to Scotland. I wouldn't mind visiting the roots of my name. That would be cool. And I love Scotch as well, so good holiday perhaps. And thanks for the $5, Ron. I do really appreciate it. All right. Yeah, no, I do understand. People are saying they respect my opinion, which is why they want me to review the CR10. I totally understand that, and I do appreciate that. I really do. It's just, I can add so much more in other areas than just doing another review. And I don't feel it deserves more attention. I know that's weird to say, but every review that I do at the scale of this channel, like, even if it's a crap review, boosts the knowledge of that brand. So I want to review things that I think deserve a boost. Like the CR10 doesn't need a boost. It's massive already. But for example, there's another company that contacted me who have a huge printer with linear rails, not rods. And it's a decent price as well. It's about the same as the CR10, maybe a little bit higher. That's what I want to review. So I might be getting one of those as well. So there's a lot of companies that are just kind of in the sidelines. Not the big ones. Not TiVo, not Creality, you know, these little other ones that not many people know about. I'd rather kind of review those because that adds more value in my opinion than just another CR10 review. If that makes sense. I hope it does. Retson's talking about the Palette Plus. That's actually something I wouldn't mind testing. The Palette Plus is pretty cool. I might get in touch with those guys. The original one apparently was a bit iffy, so the Plus is apparently a lot better. And I know Joseph Prusa did send something randomly. I think it's arriving at my old address, which is my parents'. So I'm not sure what it is. It may be the multi-material upgrade for my Prusa, which would be cool. I have no idea what it is though. But I have been sort of tempted by multi-color now and multi-material. Despite me saying before that I thought it was stupid, there's more people doing it now, and I'm like, oh, I can see a value in that. So yeah, I'm keen to test it out at some point. And Morik is saying, can I review the FormBot T-Rex 2 Plus? Again, that's another printer that probably does deserve a bit more attention. Those, it's a large format printer that not many people know about. Exactly. Unlikely. I review the CR10 legit for real. I should just intentionally put it together wrong and then say it's terrible and just get a huge amount of hate for that video and just be like destroyed. I don't like the CR10, it's the bed's backwards, or the rails are bent and whatever. No, I'm not going to do that. I couldn't ever do that to a printer. Oh, Robbie, thanks for the $10. I do really appreciate it. Keep doing what you do. No reviews on CR10. I won 2 of them. I know how well it does. You won 2 of them. Aren't you lucky? Jeez. I mean, I'm testing the Raze, and the Raze is a really good machine, but the CR10 against that, the price difference is nuts. And if you've got 2 of them, you can print huge things all day long. That's pretty crazy. Anyway. I wonder what Joel and Barnacles are up to. I think they're at there's another mini Maker Faire on right now, the Portland. I can't remember where it was. That's happening right now. So sure we'll get some videos from Joel about that. Jeff is talking about any reviews of alternate controller boards. Kind of. I am going to be testing out the Masso CNC control system. I don't know if you can see it, but the guys at Masso lent me a CNC machine. It's just a little one, but it's pretty cool with their control system. It's not for 3D printing, it's for CNC. So it replaces the need for a computer to process the G-code. It's an all-in-one system for controlling CNC machines. And you probably could control 3D printers with it too, but it's pretty neat. It's really cool. It controls up to 5-axis machines. And I'm pretty keen to test it out when I get back from the States. Yeah, Turkin Khan's 3D Tanks is saying, I still prefer to paint my models. Absolutely. I think the best way to detail a model is still to paint it. Printing in multicolor is interesting, but I don't think it's the best way forwards. If you're into miniatures or prop design, you really should just paint it. What I'm interested in is the multi-material, like a rubber attached to a rigid, attached to a dissolvable. That's what I'd like to try. And apparently it does work very well in the multi-material upgrade through the Prusa. So, yeah, wouldn't mind testing that out. We got Everick from Adelaide. Welcome. I may be attending the Adelaide Maker Faire depending on how wrecked I am after New York. There is apparently a ant-weight robot competition at the Adelaide Maker Faire in November, which would be cool to attend, actually. I wouldn't mind going there. But I'm not sure if we'll be able to see how dead I am after I get back from America. Ah, cool. NLTMW is saying Barnacles was streaming from the Portland Mini Maker Faire right before my stream. Sweet. Good on him. I do like his streams. Bailey case, cheapest place to get PLA filament in America. You're asking the wrong dude. I do not live in America, but I've heard Hatchbox is pretty cheap and decent. I'm sure someone in the chat can help you out. Oh, Robbie's saying he owns 2 of them, not 2 of them. That's alright. The misplacement of 1 letter can change the meaning of an entire sentence. I want to say that's very lucky to win 2 of them. That would have been interesting. Have I had a look at the Haribo mod on the Prusa Mark II? No, I haven't looked at the Haribo mod on the Prusa Mark II. I will have to have a look at that. Shivel's saying, have I ever blown up a stepper driver on a printer like catastrophic boom? I've blown them up, but they have not catastrophically gone boom. Years ago, when I was working on my cupcake icing 3D printer, I definitely put too much too much current through one of them, and it just went and just stopped working. Didn't really blow up though, but electronic speed controllers for combat robots, oh yes, I have exploded the crap out of those, like capacitors going bang and FETs exploding off the heat sinks. I have destroyed those completely. I've never really destroyed too much 3D printing hardware because it doesn't see much pressure. The only things that I would be careful of, which I never had to experience myself, are overdriving the FETs that control the heat bed. I'm always printing, trying to print PLA on those cheaper machines because ABS puts a lot of pressure and lots of current through those FETs. And I'm always worried about them popping. But no, luckily I've been pretty lucky. Rarest Lady Muse, she's gone off to have breakfast. So I'm good on my own, but yeah. She'll be joining me in the States and we'll be doing streams from the States, absolutely. And we've got some recommendations for filaments. Awesome. Chep is asking, Chuck's asking, when do I get to New York? We arrive on the afternoon of the 20th. We're going to go straight to our hotel in Queens, which is we're staying near the venue for Maker Faire and probably going to pass out for 2 days. And then we're going to be heading over to the Mana Hackers meetup, whenever that is. And yeah, keen to catch up, really keen to catch up. Chubby Engineer, please do a video on the Olo at New York Maker Faire. Oh my god. That was so funny. So, I don't know if any of you know the story, but at the San Mateo Maker Faire on the Friday during the setup, me and Joel were walking around and we went up to the Olo booth and they were setting up. And the guys there kind of looked at me a bit strange and they realized, oh, it's that dickhead who made those videos about our product on Kickstarter. And they were nice, they were very polite, but they were like, oh, it's you. And I'm like, yeah, hi, it's me. And then they proceeded to like strangle me for a photo for Twitter, and it's the best photo in the world. But they were there to pre-sell Olo printers or Ono printers, and we still haven't seen any shipped to backers. So I'm sorry. I still stand by my criticisms that the machine has serious problems, and even if it does work, will be a toy. It's cheap. I mean, most people are like, yeah, it's fine, it's cheap. But I'm not okay with pre-sales when you still haven't shipped your Kickstarter backer sales. So, yes, they hate me, and fair enough. I probably took a lot of sales away from them, but I do not tolerate that sort of behavior. So that was funny, and I'm definitely going to approach them again and be like, hey, how's that working prototype going? Do you have one on sale? Do you have one you can show me? Because they didn't have one operational at the Maker Faire in San Mateo. But if they have one operational at New York, I'll absolutely show it to you guys, because I'm totally okay to take back my words if it works. If it works. There you go. That's the story. People talking about barnacles without a shirt. Yeah, that is a scary thought. Theo's saying he went to Bay Area Maker Faire and they said they'd ship within a week from the fair. That was a lie. They didn't. That was absolutely a lie. Dade's asking, do you have to be an exhibitor to get in on Friday? Yes, you do. You need to be an exhibitor or get in on one of the booths. Or maybe you can get in as a media. I'm not sure, but yeah, you can only get in on Friday if you got those things, or if you're like special consideration, like they usually do it for kids and school groups. Yeah, so Saturday and Sunday is really the only days you can get in as just a standard attendee. Robbie, you don't need to do $2 to say that. How laggy is this chat? It must be pretty laggy. Own 2 of them, not 1, 2 of them. That's fair enough. And Shivel's saying, wow, you expect them to even show up. I totally expect OLED to show up. Their marketing is their only thing they've got. They don't have a product. They only have marketing, so it's totally going to show up. And if they do, I'll totally talk to them. It's how it's going to be. Yeah, and I do apologize. There's no printer running in the background. It's only very early in the morning. I got lots of stuff to pack and get ready. It's absolutely crazy. But do have a couple more questions, and I'll probably finish up. I know it's only been a short stream, guys, but I really do appreciate you jumping in. It's been lots of fun, and as I said, getting back into it's been crazy. Every time I come back into the studio, I've just had to go again. It's just been, I've been coming and going like crazy. I've put way too many kilometers on my new car already. It was only meant to be for weekend trips, and now it's gone to Brisbane and back. But anyway, that's how it is. And we'll be back in the studio in 2 weeks' time. But I'll be streaming from New York. I'll be making videos. I'll have Lady Muse to assist. And yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. So I'll do a couple more questions, and then I will probably finish up for today. Craig saying regarding growing a channel, what are the odds of Lady Muse doing my editing to lighten the load? Look, she does help out a huge amount in the background, but editing isn't really her thing. She's an illustrator. So if you haven't seen on Twitter, Lady Muse is the fat celiac on Twitter, and she does animation now. So she's been doing animation and practicing drawing and stuff. So that's her stuff, and it's totally cool. We might do some sort of collaboration with animation and 3D printing in the channel in future. But yeah, you should go follow her, actually. It'd be really funny. But yeah, that's her thing. So I really do need a specific editor, I guess. If I was going to outsource it, I need someone who does editing as a job. Jake, again, thank you for the $2. How do I feel about the Obsidian? I reviewed the pre-production video in the video. That's basically my only opinion on it. The machine's gone. It got picked up straight afterwards, so that's about it. And does Sydney have any good events? No. So Sean was asking if Sydney has any good events. Again, I've talked about this in streams before about my interest in starting a thing in Sydney. At this stage, I do not have time to plan one. At my disposal, I have no time spare to plan an event in Sydney, but I would love to see a 3D printing meetup in Sydney. Absolutely. If anyone wants to organize it, I'll go. Like, absolutely. Organize it on Meetup. It can be anywhere in Sydney. I'll attend. I'll pimp it. I'll broadcast it. You just need a big room with public liability insurance and desks and power boards for printers. That'd be awesome. But you need the insurance to do it properly, and that's what's held me back. It's just too much effort. I don't have time for it. But yeah, I would love an event in Sydney. Thanks for the $3 average, Joe. Really, really appreciate it. And unlike creators, does Lady Muse post on YouTube yet? Nope, she does comment, but she's basically a Twitter girl at the moment. So you can follow her on Twitter. That's her main haunt. Cool. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been awesome. And yeah, I hope to see you guys at New York Maker Faire. If I don't, then look out for videos talking about projects and things. And by all means, on Twitter, you can send me, like, if you're at the event and you see something cool, you can send me something on Twitter and I'll try to check it out and sort of feature it on the channel. And yeah, we'll be back in 2 and a bit weeks back in the studio, and I'll be testing out the Zortrax M300, the Einscan SP and SE, and the Alex Mill, and the Start, and so many things to do. But that'll all be there when we come back. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a freaking awesome... oh, thank you so much, Cyber, for that $10. And Technology Nerd, I'm taking Qantas, because Qantas is the only flight that goes straight to the States without stopping over in another country. Yep, so that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic weekend. And I look forward to seeing you again very shortly here on Makers Muse. Catch you later, guys. See you later. Bye.